Hi, boys and girls. I want to start off by saying I miss you and I hope everything is going well, okay? Today I'm going to review the page in your packet that is labeled Day 12 Writing. So, in order to complete this one, you should have already done Day 11. If you haven't, you need to do that one first. Today, you're taking what you picked from Day 11 and turning it into a full personal narrative, okay? So remember your personal narrative, you're writing from first person. So that means these are the kinds of pronouns you want to use. I, me, we, or us. If you're talking about yourself, and I don't want you to use your name, like I wouldn't say Mrs. Freeman walked out the door. I would say I walked out the door, okay? The next thing, I want you to remember everything we've learned this year about the narrative writing diamond. This is your narrative writing diamond in case you forgot what it looks like. So remember at the top is our entertaining beginning. You want to start your story as close to the main event as possible. So I don't want to start off with, one day I got out of bed. I took a shower, I got dressed. I went and ate breakfast. Okay, this is stuff that doesn't add anything to the story. You want to start off as close to your big part as you can. So some ways you can start your story that's entertaining would be dialogue. Remember, that's where somebody's speaking, so you're going to need quotation marks. Maybe a sound, action, so think about your verbs. That's like running, throwing, walking, those kinds of things. And then thoughts and feelings, all right? Your next part is your elaborative detail. This is where you describe either the story critical character, which is probably going to be you in this story, or maybe a person that's with you. You can describe a story critical object, so whatever the important thing is in the story, or even your setting, okay? Your next part is suspense. Remember, this is building up anticipation to the main event. This is where you really want your reader to be like, I should keep reading. This is getting good. To do this, we use our red flag words or phrases. Remember, those are things like all of a sudden, just then, without warning, okay? You can also do the magic of 3. That's where you give hints using your 5 senses, and then you don't reveal it until the 3rd time, okay? Then is your main event. This is your biggest part of the story, okay? To do this part right, you want to stretch it out. It needs to take some time. So you need action in this part. What are you doing? You need sounds. So what did you hear? And these kinds of things, sounds, don't need to be sentences that started with like, I heard a bird chirping. It needs to be actual words. So using the bird example, it would be like cheep, 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 cheep. Okay. You need detail. You're still describing things. We need to keep that going through the whole story, not just up here, okay? Then you need thoughts and feeling or questions. So maybe what are you wondering or worrying about? And then dialogue. So you're talking in your main event too. It may be saying something out loud to yourself if you're by yourself, if you don't have anyone else in the story with you, and that's okay. Next is your solution or conclusion. So if you had a problem here in your main event, you need to solve it afterwards. You can't just leave the reader wondering what happened. You got to end it. Okay? If you had an experience, then you just want to conclude it. You need to find a way to end it. Remember though, we don't want to end it abruptly. That means suddenly. You need to extend your ending. That way it doesn't leave the reader feeling like, oh, that's the end? Okay. You want to have like a memory about something that happened in the main event. You need a hope or a wish. It needs to tie into whatever you're talking about. You can't just suddenly say, I wish I had $100,000. Okay, if that's not what you're writing about. And then you need a decision. So what kind of decision did you make based on everything that happened in your story? Okay, that's your writing assignment for the day. You're just writing a personal narrative. You've done this before, so I know you can do it. Okay, every single one of you are going to be great at this. Your next thing for today is grammar and it's comma placement. Luckily, we just did this not too long ago, okay? And if you read the top of your paper carefully, it does remind you about where the commas should go. All right? Again, I hope you guys are doing well. Don't stress. It's all stuff we've done before in class. You can do it.